guys, welcome back to CN Silver Creek Subdivision. This is a layout update of, we'll call it October and mid-November, I guess. We've been fairly busy with some huge projects here. The first thing we did was the branch line rebuild. So what you're seeing here, first off, is a GoPro running on the old branch line. The track profile of this part of the old branch line, which we rebuilt, it was smaller and more compact, and there was a lot more going on. As you can see, there's a lot of tracks here. There were storage tracks to the right. There was a pocket track for a bug car. This grade was about 5% and probably 4 feet long. So as he headed down to the pier. So the branch line goes to a harbor or a pier. I felt that with what I wanted to model and having a pier, I needed to have something besides a waterfront, which is what would be on the left of this track here. That would have been the harbor, like the pier wall, I guess. So you had a track on the right for a boxcar or just to offload. You had 2 tracks for salt, which I used to use the Rapido 3800s, and then the farthest track to the left was grain. I figured I kind of felt with how much was going on here, now that I've matured a little bit as a modeler, is that I couldn't fit that in there, make it work without it being too compressed. Now, I understand about selective compression, but I thought it was too busy. So I talked to the other guys at the club, and we spearheaded this, and I felt like I would rather focus on something a little more to scale to be our feature branch line. So how many clubs or layouts get to have an 85-foot dedicated branch line? So what are you going to put at the end of a branch line? I wanted to have something epic and awesome and huge and a signature scene that was really just all about the scene. So here we are. You can see where the wood changes there, where the foam stops, pretty much behind that broken elevator. That's where we went fresh. So now our grade is, I think it's 13 feet long. It's 2.6% now instead of 5. But as you can see, you get a scene like this with all these cars, it really just gives that wow factor. And that's what I wanted to do with this. I wanted to make the trains seem small, like they should when you come down to something of this scale. So the main thing at the end of this, it's not based on Goderich, Ontario. Like, again, we do proto freelance, but it's definitely inspired by that. Goderich has one of the largest salt mines in the world, and the salt mine's out on a pier, and that's where it drops under the lake and they mine salt. So we put the MDF or particle board in there just to lay it down. It was blue from the backdrop, so it kind of worked out, just as a little placeholder for the water. So this would be your lake shore here, heading north. And the elevator continues on along the lakefront. Where the car is turning now is the pier. So as you'll see here in a couple seconds, it goes farther down. And at the end, at the very end of it, I have a track mobile, a D-rail, and then I'm going to put a chain link fence in there. And that will symbolize like the end of what we're modeling. You just chop it right off. And past that is the salt mine, where the little track mobile will come out, grab 5 or 6 cars off of the track that this guy's spotting all the empties into. He'll pull it in, and then he'll shove it back out to the track that's on our side of this track. You'll see later on. So there's a load or an empty track, which he's spotting now for all the salt cars, and then right to our side of it, the trackmobile will shove back out the loads. So they'll pick off the empties and shove the loads up right beside it. There's also a little stub track here for dimensionals. Heavy things like transformers and generators on big depressed flat cars, and he took it right at the switch right there. So this is all we have at the moment, is one of these pipe cars, but for the moment it works to symbolize what's happening. And it's only I think it's 200 feet to scale, so it's not a big track, and you'd only see traffic come down here and get spotted, like, it'd be like a once every 3-month thing in reality. So you might see one in an operating session or one every other operating session, something like that. So that'll be pretty neat. So there's the tail. That's where the fence will be. There's the track mobile. I put in a little derail. So he'd run up and then grab the first 5 cars that the train just spotted, and then pull them off the layout past the fence. and then he would shove them back up to the right of the hoppers. So he'd pull the empties back and then spot the loads, go grab 5 or 6 more, whatever he's got, and then shove the loads back up to the other end, and so forth until all the empties move a track over and become loads. So that's how this part works anyway. I think from fouling point to fouling point, I can get 26 these little guys in there for each track. So you can spot 25 or 26 empties. I'm not sure yet because I have a road going in there. It's going to cut off the ability to or how many cars you can fit in there. So it's going to be 25 or 26. In reality, Goddard holds 32 of these little fellas. So pretty close. And when you get a scene like this, looking across an open lake, if you could imagine, to see the train on the far side, that's what we were going for here. So, I mean, it's not as busy as it was before, and but it sure shows the scale, and that's we're really, really happy with this. I got this nice, long, easy grade. So 2.65%, say 4,000 or 5,000 horsepower on the front, and 3,500 tons up that hill. They should walk it up there pretty good, I would think. The hill isn't that long, so but it should be fun to play with. I'm sure we'll see it in another day in the life of series here shortly. What else can I tell you? So we ripped this all out, and then I laid this thick cardboard down just on the box benchwork down there, and then I traced it all out. I planned it and ripped it back up and planned it, and then we eventually had templates when I was done of the cardboard, transferred them to 3/4 inch furniture grade plywood, cut them out, and boom. So here you go. That little shape on the left between the pier and the wall is going to be a 6 to 8 foot lake freighter that's going to be built. So that's going to be a big signature when you see the truck to the rail and then the huge freighter in the back. I'm not quite sure how well that's going to go, but that's what's happening anyway. There is going to be an 8-foot boat in there, or 6 to 8 feet anyway. So that track right here at this switch that hangs to the right, which I'm sure I'm going to show you here in a second. Again, it's been a long day, and voiceovers are how I get these done. There's the grade, more waterfront. Come on, there you go. So this track here is we're calling a south pier. So in theory, that those silos go another 1,000 feet. Again, inspired by Goddard. There's so many silos there, and they're right against the harbor wall. So they it can handle 10 grain cars, and they're going to offload them or load them whenever you want, and that'll be that. Mazie, another rebuild. It's been a busy week. There's 3 of us off on holidays, and we were just up here for 5 days straight. So it came all out. It had that fabricated wood that we had in there before, where it was, I don't even know how thick it was, 3/8. And then the first rebuild, we cut them out and then laminated it, and then it still was crappy and wavy, so like the other rebuilds we've done, for the same reasons. So we replaced it all, extended the table here, and our buddy's dad put this really nice sweeping cut in there. It was squared off before, so that allowed me to pull those curves out. Instead of them following a 36-inch curve diagram, they now is a sweeping S-curve. And Maisy has lights. Tortoises are in. They're not. I haven't fixed the signals in yet, but they are wired. I just have to line them up straight where I want them and then secure them in. But the grade is nice. The curve is sweeping. You might say, "Oh, why did you go left and then go back right? Why didn't you just use a left-hand switch?" Well, after the scenery goes in, there will be an immovable object there, and if you follow the track profile, the south main there was the original main line before it got double tracked. So that's to come still. And last but not least, the Oak rebuild. We've been busy. We were not happy with the quality of the bench work that was in there before, so we ripped it all out and did the same thing yet again. And like every other mainline switch on the layout with CTC going in, it's been replaced with the Walther's Code 83. Number 10s for 90% of our turnouts. Nice and long. The control locations are nice and long, and we'll be tackling this, I guess, maybe this weekend. We'll get at it and get it in. And I'm about to put the final signal order in too, so that'll it's gonna get fancy through here. But you'll have to wait and see what that looks like. And that's all for this one, guys. Cheers. Happy modeling.